time is, there we go. Okay. Well, hi, everybody. Um, let's see. Jen and I, as I said, were together for about 4 days and worked for about, I don't know, what did we say, Jen? 2.5, 3 hours in that
3 hours?
time. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we did. We worked a
So
little bit yesterday.
we
I
should
was
be
impressed.
prepared. We should be prepared.
hmm
I don't know that we are,
Carol's
but
mother sent a message like when we sent pictures from the zoo, and Sharon was like, "Excuse me, why are you two not working?" And we are like, "Excuse me, can we not have
excuse,
a day off?"
can we have a day? Not
Please,
that
Sharon.
walking around the zoo was a day off, because man, that about
And I was
killed
outside the
me.
mountain.
But yeah, literally Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. I'm like, what do we do? What are we doing? Where's my wheelchair? Anyway, okay. So thanks everyone for being here. So a couple of
hmm
housekeeping things. We're so excited to get this all started. So thanks a lot for meeting. This
Yes.
PowerPoint, well, not a PowerPoint, whatever this is called, this set of slides, I'm actually going to share the link right now in the chat, because we will just, as you can see, it's just labeled 2024, 2025 IDTC staff meetings. We all are the staff of the introductory dyslexia training course for this 24, 25. Okay, so if you ever, there's live links on here. So if you ever want access to it, we'll just keep building on this set of slides every time that we meet. Okay, that's the idea anyway. This will always be the Zoom link that we use also. This is our HES Lessons Zoom account. This is also the link for every time we meet, anytime we meet with the larger group as well. Okay, and then I just went ahead and put on this very first page, even before our date, I went ahead and put this in here. And so Jen and I kind of have been use this a little bit this year with our ICALP interns, and then we thought this would be I think it worked out pretty well. And so we kind of built it out a little bit yesterday as well. So you should have editing privileges on here. Anyone with the link is an editor. So let me just copy the link on this too and stick it in here. All
While
right.
she does that, let me just say, what a team we have this year. We are thrilled and
We do.
congratulations for being one of the chosen ones to go through yet another year. Is it chosen
I
or is it a
mean, are
punishment?
you
Well,
glutton for
it depends
punishment?
on the
Right.
day.
I don't know if it's really
No,
a,
but really, truly, you are exceptional. Not
yes.
everyone gets invited. We are looking for the very best people, and there are a lot of criteria we look at. In fact, for next year, Kara and I continue to evolve every one of our programs, better details, more organized. And next year, probably we're going to have an actual application for people to fill out. We're young enough and small enough now. We're just like, oh, that person is awesome. We want them to be an intern. So that's kind of how it's worked out so far. And of course, there's criteria we look at, but we're going to need to tidy that up as we get more people interested in becoming interns. But congratulations and thank you for your willingness to join us this year. And y'all are going to be great instructors. Okay, I'll
Absolutely.
do the rah-rah. Kara, you get back
Yes,
to the
I will be the
details.
task master.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you, Jen. No, that's very, very nice. And very true. And if we don't say it enough, we'll say it now. Thank you so much for, doing this. We're very excited to be training trainers because we know the need is so great. So, but it's a heck of a lot of work, as you already know. Okay, so here's like a overview page, this tracking form right here, this first one. And so here are the requirements that are technically needed before starting your ICALP internship. Okay, so obviously you already have to be a CALP. So I and Jen don't know the date of your CALP certificate. So when you have a moment, this is just one of the tasks that we would like for you to do between now and, within the next couple weeks. Go ahead and start filling this in, especially this line right here where it talks about the date of your your CALP certification. Okay. And then one of the things that we want to have happen before you start your ICALP, well, ALTA requires it, is you have to have at least 240 hours beyond CALP, because you had 60 in CALP. So 240 hours beyond that, meaning you have a running total of 300. So we also want to know the date-ish that you would have fulfilled that requirement, okay? Also,
And
the,
everyone
mhm.
does have their 300 hours or super close to it. Excellent. Okay,
Great. And
very
actually,
good.
we want you to actually, what we would like to see from you is to have those hours in particular, those 240 hours beyond CALP. You'll see each of you down here. There's David's, there's Chrissy's, there's Carrie's, there's Lauren's down here. So go to your log and just type in, again, first name is fine, or just put, kindergarten group or whatever you want to say here, and just say the day you started with that kid or group and the day you ended, or if it's ongoing, you can just put
Yeah.
ongoing, and then just the hours, right? And so that total for that kid or group, and that'll just so that we know that we've got that documentation of that 240.
So this is our cumulative record. Well, for you, for us, and for you to eventually share a very similar one with Alta when you fill out your application. Realize though, you do need to have the specific days on a calendar for each one of these groups showing exactly when you worked with them. Very similar to your log that you did during your introductory year and that you likely kept up during your advanced year too, for each individual or group that you worked with. Does that make sense? Alta really wants to see incredible details, and we are here to help you make sure you start those details and you fulfill those details throughout this whole process. So it's not some huge, horrible obstacle you've got to overcome going back and going, oh my gosh, okay, back in 2022, I blah, 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 blah. So hopefully you've kept very good records. This is the cumulative, but you also need to keep those individual calendars, the day by day lessons. Are there any questions about that?
I have one quick question. If we are
Yeah.
over 300, do we need to include everything like up till now, or do you want us to just stop when we're at 300, or
Keep going.
just do as much
Yeah,
as we
it's great
have?
to see all that. Kara and
Okay.
I were both former committee members for accepting and looking over applications, and it's wonderful to see, wow, this person actually had 650 hours, it's pat on your back. So no, and it's good for you to keep track of those hours, period. You never know when you'll need more hours. Who knows what situation or credentialing or certification may arise. It's just really a great idea to keep track of all that data.
And when you say detailed, do you mean like basically how we kept track of it for like our advanced courses and things, where it's just lists like the new concept and review and that kind of stuff?
That's absolutely fine. You don't need the kind of details you had in the introductory year, like your notes about how the child was responding and things like that. But basically, I met Tuesday for 50 minutes, Thursday, the specific day, and then throughout the school year.
Yep.
Yeah. And if you can recreate and take your best guesses. If you had some work with children you did last year, and you're like, oh shoot, didn't quite stay on top of that, or realize it was going to be quite this detailed. Yeah, so just that general information, approximate dates that you met, approximate hours, and moving forward now, continue to keep track of those, because you have to earn another 300 hours for a total of 600 before you can apply to become an instructor.
Okay, real quick question, Jen, just to clarify what David was
Yeah.
asking. So like if I saw a kindergarten group or first grade group every day, the same 20 minutes a day, whatever
Yeah.
it is, all year, all school year,
Mm-hmm.
can I just put the start date in August, the end date in May, and the total hours that I calculate? Or do you want it detailed like David's asking, where it's like, we did this, like, do you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I do. Kara, I mean,
Actually, we'll get to this, but when you go to the actual
I'm sorry.
ICALP portfolio for that Alta wants,
Mhm.
and you all can, the part of your homework is to go and look at every single one of these things. When you go to, you don't have to have, as far as I can tell,
I'm trying to remember. They just do the
they
cumulative.
just do
When
something
we
like
sign off,
this.
we need to see it. So I think, Kara, tell me if you disagree. So Carrie, you saw your kindergartners. There were, 142 days you actually met with them,
Right?
times 20 minutes be so many hours. I think that's fine.
Mhm.
Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, I have like, I have lesson plans, I have like what concepts we were working on.
And
but
we
I
don't
didn't
need all
really
that.
keep- You know what I mean? Because it's just like,
Yeah.
I kept going.
Right.
Yeah.
And if I tutored one-on-one, I do have all that stuff. But if I,
Oh,
or if I was just teaching in my regular job, I didn't keep that. So I just have,
Right.
like you just did, 20 minutes times
Right.
40 with
That's
that.
fine.
Okay,
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
fine.
okay.
Yep. So
Yep.
David, if you, and Chrissy, if you don't have quite those details, if you had groups, give us the general information. But if you have them, they're lovely to see. And lovely for you to have, even as a reference. But I don't want to create a bunch of extra unnecessary work for you either. Okay, sorry if I jumped ahead.
No, it's okay.
Miss Karen.
Yeah, this is really just this one too. We just want to make sure, just for Jen and I, this is not what you turn into Alta. This is Jen and I seeing, okay, yep, check 240 beyond CALP. They're good to start.
Yeah.
So that's all you need there. But this ICALP requirements tracking thing, just bookmark this, right? Because you're going to be coming back, Jen and I and you, we will, this is, like I said, a nice overview page, because as you see, it keeps going, right? It's going to be a great overview page of like, okay, so that Jen and I can look at this too and go, wait, how many more independents does Chrissy need, right? And we can kind of see this snapshot. So this will be something that we all come back to.
Yeah, so you can see there, there are reading lectures you're going to be giving. There's a spelling lecture, and then you have your guided observations, where you have the direct support from Kara and I, your independent observations, where Kara and I are still looking, but you're kind of doing it on your own, and then we're going to look over it before we send it back to the trainee. So this gives you all of the different requirements, the majority of which are ALTA. We do require an additional 10 observations from you, though. So a total of 20. But you can see
Yeah,
the different other things you're going to build. Exam questions you build for ALTA for the application. You read research articles, things
we'll
like
give you
that
more information about these two things kind of further on in our work
later.
together.
Yeah.
Not something, but right here, here's the 360 actually additional practicum hours, so that the total is
That's right.
660 total, meaning total including CALP. 660 is including the CALP. So really you need 600 more between the time your CALP ended and the time you can get your ICALP. I don't know why they make it so kind of confusing, but anyway, this log will get you started on at least those 240 beyond CALP, which gets you to the 300. Okay. And when we met with y'all before or recorded ourselves in a lecture, I don't know, I think we just recorded ourselves. And anyway, you might have seen this overview of hours. This was to kind of give you all an idea of kind of like, well, how much time am I going to need to devote to this ICALP thing, right? And so this is an overview, because I think we told you, oh, you should probably plan on about 180 hours, right, of time. And so this is a general, just to give you a general idea about when you will probably be expected to where you'll be devoting those hours doing what things, right? So like, we know that you're all going to be there, that you're going to spend 24 of those hours during that intro week, right? Those 4 days. You'll be kind of maybe grading some assignments sprinkled in there. Okay. And we'll assign all of that and everything. Here's October. You're probably going to do your first guided observation and then also your first independent, because that's how that'll go. You'll do a guided observation of someone's first observation, someone meaning one of the CALP people, right? And then you'll do one on your own.
I wanted to make sure you understood the acronyms, because
Yes, Jen was wanting to make
I was very
make
concerned.
Sure.
So AGO is ALTA guided observation 1, because they require 10.
Right.
AIO
No,
is
5.
ALTA.
5 guided.
I'm sorry, 5, excuse me. 5 guided, 5 independent. AIO, ALTA independent observation. And then the EIO is the extra independent observation.
The
Sounds
Kara
like
and
McDonald's
Jen.
Farm.
If you
EIGIAGO.
have better acronym ideas, I am open. Okay. I
Well,
didn't know how else to explain these things.
No, so anyway, I just want to make sure y'all understand. It's just to help you realize, hey, couple observations in October, probably about 3 in November, and this is what it would look like. Some of them you will do with us, and we're going to talk about this in a minute, where we will say, hey, on Tuesday night or on Saturday morning, we're going to need you to try to hop on. We'll give you a couple of different opportunities. Hey, we just got an observation one in. Jen's going to watch it on Saturday morning. Can you come on to fulfill this requirement? So. Or
So
Kara's
that
got one.
overview,
Yeah.
yep, that overview is right here. Again, if you ever want to come look at that, I mean, it's an example, but it's like to give you a general idea of what to kind of be thinking about. And I planned our staff meetings kind of before we're going to see the people, right? Like, so here's a staff meeting. Here's our October meeting with them, and November. Here's a staff meeting to get ready for, the January lectures. Here's a staff meeting. So, but again, those will all be at times that we don't have dates specific for those yet or anything, but in general.
Sunday nights are going to be pretty good guesses, like right after office hours tends to be time when people can maybe don't have a conflict.
Or during office hours if no one shows up.
Or during office hours if nobody shows up. And then preparing your lecture, you guys, because there are potentially 4 of you, there's a chance Lauren may wait another year before she jumps into this. So with 3 of you for sure, you guys will jump into the lecturing primary. And again, we're going to talk about this too, maybe a syllable division lecture or maybe a syllable type lecture. So it might occur in November, it might occur in December, it might be next winter or spring, but we already have options for you to choose which lectures you would like to do. So,
Okay.
questions about this table? Okay, then you can kind of see at the bottom under the gray line, has the hours flashed out as best as we could estimate for, again, probably about 180 hours this year. Yeah.
Hey, Jen and
Okay.
Kara, I have one quick question back on the hours, the total
Uh-huh.
hours. Just to make sure I understand it. So we had 300 to get to this point, and then if we have over 300, like let's say, I don't know, we have 400, I have no idea. Does that extra 100 count toward the total 660?
Oh, yes.
So even
Definitely.
though we haven't done, like, we haven't started our ICALP yet, if we're at 500 right now, we only need 160.
Right.
Oh,
That's right.
Really good.
Yeah, you don't have to wait.
Yeah.
The only timeline that
Yeah.
matters is that you can't start counting toward
Until
ICALP
after.
until you're done with CALP,
CALP,
right? And then
right,
you got to
okay.
have the 240 to start ICALP internship, right?
Got it.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. No, don't wait. Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying. We do our
Absolutely.
best, but heaven's sake, far from perfect.
Okay. Anything else on that one before so you guys can start logging that stuff? Be a great way to something, get that off your
And I'm
plate a little bit before we
Sure,
start
we'll
training.
add more tabs on the bottom.
Oh, I'm sure more tabs to
I'm
come.
sure this beast will
We
grow.
love some tabs.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
All right, well, here we are on the June 1st. Here's finally we're getting to our bulk of our agenda for today. Okay, I need to know from you, what email address do you want Jen and I to use to communicate with you? And it's going to be the email address that the trainees that get assigned to you will also use to communicate with you.
Throw it in the chat and I'll pop it over.
There you go. Throw it in the chat, please. Thank you, Jen.
Sure. Oh, or that's right. You guys have access to it. Never mind.
Oh, you could just type it in there. Oh, well, look at that.
Sit back and have a
I
beverage.
think we need editing access, maybe.
Oh, you don't have edit access? Oh, no.
I
Oh,
don't
you
think so.
don't.
Mhm.
No, you don't. All right, let me see. Now will it work?
Request access and I'll jump into the Gmail and give it
Yeah,
to you
it
if
works
it doesn't. Oh, good. Okay.
So this, again, this is going to be where we'll, we do a lot on Google Docs. A lot. It's just nice to be able to use that as a platform, because of all the ways you can edit things and whatnot. So, oh, phone number even.
Great
Oh,
idea.
Yay, great
Let's get
idea.
that Dutch on here.
Thanks.
I already have David. See if I have Chrissy. And Carrie.
Mine is, it opened up in,
I do, I have Curious.
I can type it in for you, Chrissy. Did it open up weird?
okay. Yeah, I don't know. CF slife2@gmail.com.
CF, as in Francis,
Yes.
You got it.
2 at Gmail.
Yep,
And your phone number?
419-410-4276.
Awesome.
And you guessed Francis. That is it.
Are you serious? It actually is
Yeah.
Francis?
Yeah.
I always try to think, I had that alphabet memorized at some point because it's like my husband's in the Air Force, so it's like the international, like, Alpha, Bravo. F is, what's F?
It's yeah, never mind. Foxtrot.
Thank you, Foxtrot. Yeah, because like Foxtrot, Whiskey Tango. No, Whiskey
Yeah,
Tango,
watch
Foxtrot,
it. Hey,
Whiskey Tango,
this is
Foxtrot. Okay,
PG-13.
I know that's how you knew that. Okay, great, thank
What was
you.
the movie?
Huh?
It was a movie. That was the title of a movie.
Oh, was it? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and if you didn't know what they were talking about,
Then you might have been a little taken aback when you actually went to the theater to watch it.
you might have been a little taken aback. I didn't actually see the movie.
It's probably from what, the early 1900s?
It was Tina Fey.
Oh, we loved a kid. Okay.
Yeah, oh, excuse me. She keeps talking about how old I am.
Okay. Here is, you have the option of Ashland credit for your ICALP time. And if you want to take a look at the syllabi for that, it's not anything super fancy. It's basically everything we're sharing with you. But anyway, if you wanted to do that, I actually do have, it will start June, it'll be June 1st to August 30th. It mirrors the CALP. Okay, it's like broken into 2 parts, and it mirrors how we do the CALP level too. So June 1st to August 31st is part 1. September 1st to May 31st is part 2. Just like with CALP, there is no extra work to be done, whether you take for Ashland credit or not. And it's just more money for Ashland, not to Jen and I, just to Ashland. And so I will have the course number for anybody who wants to sign up for that. I will have at least the part 1 course number ready to send out to you. Since it's June 2nd, I will get that. I will email that to you all.
And I think it's what, $182 a credit?
Yeah, it's
Something, or 180.
I want
or
to say it's 550 total, 555 actually. 555 total, I want to say, for the 3 hours
okay.
and 3 hours. Yeah.
Kara, can I ask you a question about
Sure.
credit? I
Yeah.
was thinking about this the other day, like if once we are instructors,
Uh-huh.
we will likely be able, like we can, provide our trainees Ashland credit as well.
Uh-huh.
Is there a time when either built in or we could add, like maybe you could, anyone who's interested, like, can you teach us how to do that? Like how we go to Ashland and get, or maybe that's through a district, I don't know, but
Well, it kind of depends. So it could be through the district. So that might be something you would want to, if something's already set up with like Worthington's district and Ashland, some kind of agreement, right? Where it's like, I don't know.
okay.
Then
Yeah, probably.
because sometimes it's like you got to pass around this page for signatures, like get the superintendent's signature, get this signature, blah blah blah.
Okay.
So if Worthington already kind of has that relationship, or Genoa or Marysville, you might ask through that route first.
Okay.
But yeah, it's essentially just a matter of getting yourself set up as a adjunct
Mhm.
instructor where you and we can certainly give you the name of Courtney Kessler is her name. She is somebody who we've always just gone through the Columbus branch of Ashland. And so that's what we've always done. And so, yeah, we could even set up I don't even honestly remember I did it so long ago.
Yeah.
Jen,
Well, I'll ask Worthington for, I'll ask
Yeah.
the district first.
That's
like,
a little
how-
ways down the road
It's a ways
too.
away. I just was thinking about
Yeah.
it today, and it was like, oh, I have no idea how to even do that, like where to start. So I'll talk to
Yep.
the district next year, about how to set that up. But I was just curious, like,
Yep,
Mhm.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. Ba, ba, ba. Yeah, oh, also, we also can, you guys have your like ippy dippy things. If you don't want to do the Ashland credit, but you want a certificate of hours, so to speak, right? For your ippy dippy towards your certificate renewal for your whatever you need.
Teacher certification.
Thank
Is
you.
that what you're trying
Yeah,
to say
yeah,
here?
that thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Then please do, if you need anything from us, like I know sometimes you need pre-approval for that kind of stuff. So if you need something other than the syllabus to share with your Ippy Dippy committee, let us know. And we can certainly help provide you with that. And then in the end, we'll give you a certificate that reflects the hours that you said you were going to do. So all those Ippy Dippies seem to be kind of different committee, whatever, different districts. So we just need to know what the wording needs to be. But it is.
But you're gonna do a lot of work. You're gonna totally on the up and up, but you should receive credit for the continuing education numbers in for all that you're doing. So we're not gonna provide that.
Jen, we can't hear you very good. You're kind of muffled.
Oh, no.
I know.
I'll grab my earbuds. Anyway, we're happy to provide. You're doing a lot of work. And so we want you to get credit, as needed.
All right.
I think ours is typically, most of them are broken down by contact hours. So the 3 credit hours, it just would
Uh-huh.
be some sort of
Yeah.
equation to like 30 contact hours or something.
Totally. If there's an equation that would make
Mhm.
that very easy to say, like the equivalent, your contact hours are clearly the equivalent of 3 graduate credit hours. So whatever that needs to be, please just let us know. We will absolutely, okay, actually, I found it right here. I do already have the course number. For y'all. Why don't I, you know what? I'm just gonna,
Throw that in the chat.
what I might do is screenshot it. And throw it right in here. Oh, that's not what I want. Here we go. There you go. There's part 1.
Great.
So just follow those directions. Realize we are instructors for many courses. So it is imperative that you find the IDTC instructor part 1, 6160H9. And Courtney shared this with me, so I'm assuming it's up and ready to go. But that will be for your part 1, and we'll get you the part 2 information when we get the part 2 out for the CALPs as well. Okay. Excellent. All right. So Jen and I, as you know, recorded multiple, about 8 hours worth of asynchronous lectures that folks are required to watch and take knowledge checks on before they come on July 31st. During that first one that they watch, it's Jen and I are kind of giving them an overview of the whole course, and we introduce ourselves and talk about who we are and whatnot. And here is that actual lecture right here. So we didn't, there was no reason to try to get all of us together to do this. But what we would like to have happen is when we meet again in one of the very first things we do when we meet with them on July 31st will be to go back to this exact PowerPoint, because we actually didn't get through everything. There's more stuff we want to talk to them about further on down here. But what we would like for you to do is find and I'm thinking that yeah, so I'm gonna,
Do you want to show them? Oh, I would
Yeah,
say show them slide 3. That's your bio.
the
Headshot.
link. So like, for example, this is a little bit more than you need to do, but here's the kind of the rough idea of what we're looking for here. Put a headshot of yourself here. And you're kind of just model it off of this, your name, your credentials down here. And so there's mine. there's Jen's, and it's not something that you're necessarily going to like read off the screen, but during that week of training, one of the first things we do will be to introduce you guys, right, to them at your satellite locations. And so there's David's, there's Lauren, there's Carrie, and there's Chrissy. So I will just unhide these right now. Unskip, I should say. Okay, so just find yours. And so the details of what we want in your bio are approximately like your first and last name, your degree and certification initials. Write your bio in the third person. It's kind of a good idea to have a bio ready to go for when you know, in the future, when you do other presentations. It's oftentimes they will ask you for your bio, and it can be a slide, or it's just kind of something they'll put out when they put out like, you know, who are the speakers for the day kind of thing. But this is a nice, good experience for you to write us a bio about yourself, including these things. Yeah, and again, when we meet with them, you can kind of speak more informally about yourself, but we do want them to, you know, it's always nice when you can get to know your instructors. Okay, so here's the requirements for that for you, but then you can click here to go to the actual thing. And I said deadline June 30th. So, you know, you can get your, you can wait until you have a tan, your summer suntan, if you want to. Jen and I were not able to do that necessarily. Jen and I have been using these headshots for a while. My hair does not even look like that anymore, but that's okay. You know, that's fine. I'm going to hold on to that
All
one as
good.
long as I can, because I think I look younger.
You are younger.
Thank you.
You're never going to look that good again,
I
Karen.
know.
Hate to
Oh,
tell you.
please. Are you serious right now? You guys
Hey,
see?
if you all are okay, I also like to put my interns on my website, the folks that are supporting me. So if everybody's okay with that, I'll just borrow the information you get in here and plop it over into my website. And hi, lovely to see you. Glad you're here.
Sorry, I was dealing with a sick kid.
Ooh, you don't sound very good either.
We have this summer gunk right now.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh,
What?
no.
Yay, summer.
Been a rough
Mhm.
first week.
Summer gunk.
Ugh.
Then it just goes around everybody. Yeah. Well, we're recording, so we will share with you. Okay, everybody cool with I highly recommend the portrait mode on an iPhone. My sister took my picture in her backyard a few years ago with the portrait mode, and I was like, oh, I do not look like that. That's a good picture. Okay. All right. Begin with the end in mind. We want to, again, we don't want you to be a year from now and go, I don't have the documentation that I need to fill out this portfolio, because it is truly a portfolio. It's not a test you're going to take to become an ICALP. It is a portfolio of evidence of your competency, right? Basically. And some of that is because Jen and I have signed off on some things, but some of it is outside of even Jen and I. Okay. So what I asked from Alta for this year's folks was, you need to, yes, there is on their website, you can find, become an Alta certified instructor. There's a whole like thing you can look at to see what the requirements are, but it's basically what we've already told you on this spreadsheet right here. So I think it would be a really good idea for you to take the time. And again, knowing the caveat for this is the link that she sent me on December of 2023. If you click that link, it'll take you to this sample portfolio. Okay. So this is literally what they're going to ask you for when you go, that you will literally get a link like this, and you will be uploading documents. Okay. So I would please take the time to, you know, here, there you go. ICALP requirements. Just click through these folders, print what you might want to print if you want to. Okay. Again, these are also listed in other places, but, not a bad idea to, and this is like a drive, it's called Zoho Drive, that they use to do this. So you'll get your own once you are ready to actually apply for ICALP. So you don't need to, That's the purpose of the sample one. You won't actually tell them right now that you're ready to apply because you're not. But when it comes that time, this is what will happen.
And this is so wonderful to have, because even just a few years ago, people were not as savvy as to the requirements weren't laid out as nicely. They didn't have these pretty folders, even,
Mm-mm.
and even just, it was just a little fuzzy, kind of like, oh, what exactly am I supposed to do? You know, Alta itself is also, you know, having some growing pains. So this is lovely for you guys to have access to this, to really see everything that you are going to need. Oh yeah, there's the log.
So here you go right here. Here's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Log 1, hours before ICALP training. I mean, this is literally what looks like, what you will be asked to fill out.
Oh yeah, don't freak out about that. The
Yeah,
first two, remember?
I have a little note about that on
Yeah.
the next thing. But okay, so
Yeah.
so you know exactly, to your question, Carrie, you know, Jen and I are somewhat of the you know, gatekeepers in terms of like, you can't start your ICALP until you're at that 240 beyond CALP, right? But you need to know what Alta wants you to do, okay, right? In the end. So so just know this is what they're going to ask, right? Date teaching began, date teaching ended, number of sessions per week or minutes per session, curriculum used. Check, and remember, you need one full curriculum completion. So you literally just would check which one of these was a curriculum completion. And in fact, the curriculum completion doesn't have to be before you start your ICALP, does it? I don't think it does.
No,
You just have to have
No.
one. Okay, so then here's a separate log for during your ICALP training.
realize the curriculum completion is working your way through all of the introductory concepts. And so that kind of scope and sequence is basically the concepts manual. So you can look over that. I know some of you advanced people this year just continued through with your current kiddo. Or if you wanted to start with a child this year and work your way through, that's an option for you too.
Okay,
It doesn't have to be like start to finish with one kid. We can skip around with,
Actually, it does need to be start
Yeah.
to
oh,
finish
okay.
with one
Okay,
student.
perfect. Okay.
Yeah,
one student, yeah. Right.
yeah.
Okay,
When, real quick, when it asks what curriculum we used, can we just put OG, like, or Dillingham? I mean, it, you know.
yep, I would
So-
put, great question. It's just some of these forms are so centric to certain programs because obviously we don't have a
Yeah.
pre-prescribed curriculum, right? And so
Right.
I think what I had been telling, because actually this is also a question on even the CALP level application. You have to say which curriculum was used, and I have been telling them to write
I think Our
IDTC
Yeah.
scope and sequence. This is what I have been
Yeah.
telling them to write. For just literally for the folks that are right now applying for CALP level, and nobody has that's never gotten spit back to us or
Okay.
anything. Okay, so by all means, if that does happen, let us know. Alta knows Jen and I, they know our introductory course. Just one of those things that's just not, it's most common for folks to do, honestly, in Alta, for folks to do like a take flight, right? Or an MTA or a this or that, one of these
Yeah.
pre.
A specific curricula
yeah.
versus an approach.
But we haven't had anybody, it hasn't been an issue. It's just some, you know, and the people on these committees, you guys that are vetting your portfolios, that is the kind of a thing that it kind of can come in and out as well, right? Different people roll on and off of these committees. Sometimes there's less, there's people that are less familiar maybe with some of the things that come in. And so if there's ever a question, that's why we have here, don't freak out. You have the things that you need to be able to get this done. There just might be some questions along the way. And so you just want to, they're very good about contacting Jen and I if there's questions about things too. And something in particular, don't freak out about, is this right here. You're going to see this minimum 75 hours one-on-one and minimum 75 small group. We were like, You never told us that there was a minimum of 75 hours for small group and 75 hours for one-on-one. And so they're like, oh, shoot, you're right. That's not a requirement. So even though it says that on there, you do not have to, although maybe some of you do have someone on, some of both. We don't know how that got on there. It's not supposed to be there. So you could have all one-on-one hours, you could have all small group.
Yeah, those requirements are more for therapy level, which are not applying to you all, so. Yep.
Okay. All right, looking good. We wanted to also, what's our next one? Okay, I think our timing is good. We've got 45 minutes. Jen and I just wanted to share with you the letter that we get from ALTA as independent instructors. ALTA considers someone an independent instructor when they are training folks to the CALP or CALT level, independent of having an IMSLC accreditation. That's what independent means. It's independent of IMSLC. Well, what the heck is IMSLC? Okay, well, IMSLC is the International Multisensory Structured Language Education Council. And they are a organization that accredits, for lack of a better word, training programs. So like I got my training through the Children's Dyslexia Centers. They are an IMSLC accredited program. The main difference here is that for your graduates, one day when you are an ICALP and you are training people, you could choose to get your program IMSLC accredited. Now it's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars, but you could do that.
And it's gonna take so
It's going to
much.
be a little bit of paperwork.
Your application process will be insane.
Right. So
Karen and
Which
I
is-
just have not wanted to do that to ourselves.
Maybe not.
Maybe someday, probably
Maybe-
not.
exactly, maybe someday. I personally really like to be an independent person because I'm not then beholden. I'm not shelling out money to, you really don't have to have it. The only thing is different then is those people that graduate from those CALPs, the people that CALP level people or even CALPs that come from an IMSLC accredited program, all they need to go and apply to take the exam is that certificate. So unlike you guys who you had to fill out some more paperwork, right? Or it's like, here's my log, here's my whatever. Trust me, it even used to be way worse. They've actually helped us out a little bit as far as independent trainers. You used to have to upload the syllabus and the this and the log and the that. It was a ton of stuff. They've actually helped us out, narrowed it down a little bit. But why I'm showing you this letter is that this is the letter that Jen and I get once a year, basically, saying, hey, if you want your independent course sort of a little bit pre-vetted, it's almost like a pre-vetting procedure, so that your graduates don't have to fill out all of that crazy stuff. You still have to fill out some of the crazy stuff, but not all of it. Here's what we need from you. So what Jen and I have to do is we send to ALTA what you see right here, dated course syllabi and coursework, right? You have to have all this kind of stuff. What are your grading policies? What's the description of your course? Basically the syllabus that you'll see us share with the CALP, the IDTC people, right? The agendas for every day that you meet. And I guess that's it. Yeah. Independent course application checklist is mostly the
Their
syllabus.
verification form's kind of a bugger. You have to show that you're hitting all of the requirements that
Thank you,
ALTA
Jen.
lays out.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a pretty big one.
Yeah. There's this form that you got to
7 or
say,
8.
right. Which,
Yeah.
yeah, it's got these. Yes. Thank you. That other, I forgot,
Yeah.
I filled it out. Okay. So
Yeah.
just so you know, having your ICALP certificate, having a certificate saying, yes, you are an ICALP, does not necessarily mean that you can start a training course the next day with a group of people. there's just a lot that goes on behind the scenes that for you to have you know, especially in your situation where we're not training you to take flight instructors, right? Where there's that kind of curriculum kind of prepackaged sort of thing. As you see, like we've created all of our own training materials over the years, all the lectures, now, not to say that you can't use, like I used to buy concept I never bought the concept cards, but I used to buy the keyword and sound cards or the grapheme cards, right? I used to buy those from somebody else because I didn't have my own. But over the course of 5 years, I've eventually created my own list of controlled words, my own concepts manual, my own, all of that. So it's not to say that you can't absolutely rely on some, you know, some things that you could purchase and provide. We used to give out the ABCs of OG, right? It's just that, you know, you might not be quite ready for that after just 1 year of an internship.
I think another thing what we're trying to share here is this is a process and it takes time. Now, like Carrie, I know Steve is really like breathing down your neck to get cracking on a lot of stuff, as I'm sure a lot of your supervisors are, and administrators above you. People cannot become CALPs unless it is a pre-approved curricula or unless it's an approach that fulfills a whole lot of requirements. So pre-approved curricular things like Wilson, Nyhouse's, what is it? Basic language skills, and I can't even remember the full acronym. A lot of the Texas schools, or like if it's certainly Take Flight, I think Linda Mood Bells. But the thing is, you have to be a trainer for them in order for your people, in order for them to get the credit, like to earn those Wilson hours, and then for Alta in turn to accept them, for them to become CALPs. Now with Kara and I, because of all, especially that Kara's built for introductory year, fulfill the requirements for CALPs and everything we have you do, that is why Alta will approve people who've gone through our course. So yes, you can absolutely train people. Like Carrie was asking me about some advanced concepts and training some folks. Absolutely. You're welcome to do a vocabulary presentation, or you're welcome to talk about advanced phonics skills or some other fluency ideas, but it's not, first of all, you're not an instructor, so that's not going to count towards their CALP certification yet. And there's certain things you must do that take time in order for you to be approved by Alta. So just be careful not to jump too fast to put that cart before the horse. Also with Kara and I mean, I've had 14 years just in dyslexia therapy. In addition to, I've got about 30 years of education under my belt. And you will have seen what I've been doing, even just with the advanced course. So I've had 2 years with Carrie's group and then with David and Christy and Lauren's group. And now I'm finally at a point where I'm feeling like I can seriously flesh this out. I'm building these modules and I'm feeling like I absolutely know what I want you to know. I know exactly what Kara does in intro. So it took like 3 years for me to really get where I want to be with advanced. So it's going to take you some time. We'll share more later that you have the option to buy some of Kara's materials or lectures if you want to use her information. But she's, you know, this is her stuff. She's got copyrighted information. So she's not just going to hand over her concepts manual. She's not just going to hand over all the materials she's built. So you could receive some of that information, materials and stuff at a discounted price per person, in order to move through some requirements for some of the people in your district to become CALPs with you as their primary supervisor. So we can talk about this a lot more, but just be careful, you know, don't try to make some false promises to some of your direct employee supervisors, because I don't know that they fully understand the entire process. And you still do have, you got a lot of training this year. You got a lot of training this year. So it'll be fun. Sometimes it'll be exciting. It'll be a huge growth situation for you, and you all are really capable. You're so knowledgeable and so much that you do, but just there's a lot more to it than just going, oh, okay, now I've done this. Now I'm ready to jump in and do that. So, yeah, it took me, I had to have 2,400 hours with children before I could apply to become a qualified instructor. And the 2,400 hours were just specifically in the take flight curriculum. So that took me 6 years just to get that, in addition to all the other requirements. So no, we're not just going to, Alta's not going to just go, yay, hooray, come on. Yay, you've done X, Y, and Z, and now you're an instructor. It does take more than that. I mean, yeah, you are an instructor, but there's more to it even after you get that certification.
And when I went through and got I was in an ICALP internship for 3 years. I went through 3 years of CALP training cycles in order to, which set me up beautifully to make my own training course, because I had to do every single lecture. I eventually did every single lecture. Therefore, I was ready to go. I had every lecture ready. And I bought some cards from these people and this and that. I pulled some stuff together in 2017, right? But it took me that long just to get to the point. So we are shortening things for y'all, partly in response to the demand and partly in response to like the laws that are passing in Ohio and things like that. But just want to make it very clear that, you know, and I will say too, I think you all have, your leaders have this vision of what they want to see, and that's wonderful, but they don't always know exactly what the requirements are. your supervisor, your bosses, nor do necessarily the people that like put together the dyslexia guidebook necessarily, right? Like,
Yeah.
lots of things that they think should happen, which I agree with, but it's like, you can't make a trainer overnight, for sure. So just keep all that in mind. And I will say, I think it's a wonderful thing that you all, what I love about this model is that you all can take it and you can go, well, wait a minute. In our district, we use UFly as tier 1, right? So when I go to train the CALPs, the more specialized training for those folks, well, why wouldn't I just use, not use UFly, but I mean, like, why wouldn't you guys are going to, as you work in your districts, you can make it a much more seamless tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 system, right? Whereas, and maybe you don't need your own set of keyword and sound cards because you're going to use the UFly ones throughout every level, right? When Jen and I have been doing this a long time, and there were just no materials for any teacher anywhere. Nobody had grapheme cards because nobody was doing a grapheme drill, right? They were doing whole language crap. So as years have gone on, we've seen more and more. We've got foundations, we've got right? There's just more and more out there now, which I think overall is a good thing. But what you all can bring to the table is a much more, we're being employees of a school district. You know your school district better than Jen and I do. Right? Outside trainers coming in and going, okay, well, you could mold it and go, well, of course I'm going to have these folks, tier 2 and tier 3 people, use the same cards as the tier 1 people. And that's fine. Like, that's not a hill we're going to die on. But like, for a long time, nobody had anything. We had to supply it all. So I just think there needs to be a balance. So don't just be careful, make sure you're acting ethically and you're working within your scope of knowledge. And if somebody's pushing you to do something that you're not comfortable with, we can help with that too, if you want. We're here for you. Okay. All right, guys. Expectations prior to the week of training. So you're going to do your bio, right? You're going to put your bio in the slideshow that we talked about. You're going to also you can start filling this guy in, right? Okay. And what we also would like for you to do though, is we want you to watch all of the asynchronous lectures. There's, like I said, about 8 hours worth. We want you to watch them so that you know, what it is that the ICALP, the IDTC participants are going to be watching. And they're not necessarily, I actually redid some of them. And I think Jen's we were able to keep. I had to redo some of mine. So they're not exactly the same ones that you watched. And Carrie didn't even, Carrie, you haven't seen them at all. So we want you to watch all of those. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make you TAs those are all housed in the Canvas course, which is live and open already for all the folks that are going to be, we got it done and people said, hey, we'd love to have the time to get the asynchronous lectures watched, even though we're not meeting until July 29th. So you're going to become TAs, because TAs also then can grade homework and things like that as we kind of assign those things to you. So what I need from you is what email address, again, back to the email address thing. I need to, when I enter you as a user in the Canvas course, as a TA, a role of a TA, I need to know what email you want to use for the purposes of Canvas. So let me just go back here. Is it different? Is it different than what you've already given me here? Nope, you're good. Lauren, could you, what email address do you want us to use, Lauren? This is for me, for us to communicate with you and for your trainees to communicate with you.
She's got it. She's popped it in. I'll
Oh,
copy it.
thanks. Can you do that? Okay, great. So
Yep.
I will
This
be,
will
oh, sorry, go ahead, David.
this will all be through Canvas and not like Google Classroom.
That's right. All of this will
Okay.
be through Canvas. Exactly. Great. So I will make you all TAs. And that way you can see, we just want you to watch each of the asynchronous videos prior to the week of training.
Do you foresee Google Classroom being something that will be inside of? Because I would probably change my email. So
I do not foresee us using, no, we tried to use Google Classroom and it was a disaster.
okay,
So we are solely Google Docs, like,
yeah,
that, whatever you call that, Google Drive or whatever, but nothing is in Classroom.
okay.
And I'm switching all advanced over to Canvas too, just to keep it, not that that matters to you, but keep it consistent.
Okay. Now, let's just skip this for 1 second and come down to this one. So, Carrie, you're going to have a satellite location in Worthington, right? For the Worthington people.
Right.
Lauren and David, you're going to have a satellite location in Marysville for y'all people. And Chrissy is going to be with us in Salina. Okay.
Yay.
Yay! Party in Western Ohio. Okay. Now, I would love to know from you all, if you have this information, please, do you know where that is happening? Because I asked Steve and I don't think he told me. Is it at the board office? Do you know?
Yeah,
Carrie?
and he reserved a room for us already, so I have
Okay,
that and everything.
fabulous. Would you,
Yeah.
and that's 200 East Wilson Bridge Road, right?
It is, and we're in room 200.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Room
That's a lovely
200.
space.
it is nice. Yeah,
Really nice.
yeah.
Now, Marysville, do you know where you're going to be doing this?
No, but I would assume our board office as well.
Okay.
I'll have to reserve it.
Kim already might have. I told her that about this and that we would need a location. And the board office is not the board office I'm thinking of, right? Don't you all have a new, like when I worked there, it was over by Edgewood Elementary. It's not there anymore,
Yeah,
is it?
it's in East now.
Oh, East. That's where I met David for the first time. East Elementary. Okay. Really? That's the board office
Yeah.
now? Okay.
Neat.
So, great. So what we would like to have happen, well, okay, Carrie, I'm pretty sure, that's open, right? Nobody's gonna need a visitor badge or anything like
No,
that.
and they're all employees, so they just sign in like normal, like we always
Fabulous.
do.
And
It's-
the
yeah.
doors will be open for them to get in and all that. Okay,
Yeah.
great. That's okay, perfect. Same thing for
Even-
Marysville. Will they be okay with getting in there at 9 o'clock in the morning each day of this training?
They should be. If not, the room we'll be in is like right around the corner from the entrance.
So you can just
So-
bang on the window. Hey.
Yeah.
So
We're
we'll hear the
here.
bell. We'll hear the bell if they're
Oh,
late.
you'll hear the bell if, okay, great, got it. It's- we would like for you all, they don't have to be there till 9. We would like for you all to be there at 8:30. So the training day is 9 to 4. We'd like you to be there at 8:30. There'll be an hour for lunch every day. Okay, so what we'd like to have happen is that we would like to do a tech check. So what's going to happen is we're going to Zoom all of you in. Jen, Chrissy, and I will be in Salina. And apparently they have this fancy equipment where there's this like mounted camera and everything that basically follows, I don't know, follows the person around the room with whoever's talking, which is wonderful because then we don't have to be like, you know, chained to the computer to be in front of the camera. Anyway, so, because we want to make sure that we want to be very mindful of being inclusive of not just the people in the room in front of us, but Marysville, Worthington as well. Okay, so we want to make sure you can hear everything, you guys can see us. We'd really like to do a tech check. But the problem is Jen and I are not actually going to show up to Salina until the day before. So what we're trying to do is coordinate like a little tech check with Marysville, Worthington, and Salina at some point this summer before July 29th, just so we can all pull up Zoom, you know, we'll be where we are, but that we'll have someone at the Salina location on her end and she'll help us out getting that part of it. Okay. So is it a big, huge deal for Carrie, for you to make it over to Worthington board office one day, or David or Lauren, or both of you to make it to Marysville one day? We'll coordinate the day, obviously, but it'd just be like, we just want to check this tech stuff.
Not a big deal. June would be better because I think
Aha.
people are there and then summer school's still going on, so like people are around.
So okay.
So June like would be afternoon, like 12:30-ish, you know, or something like
Okay.
that would
That's
be ideal.
Perfect. Absolutely. Good to know.
Right.
Okay. So
And David,
June.
when do you go on your big trip?
The 27th. So as long as it's before that,
June?
we're good to go.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. June 27th. No, David. June 27th. Okay, great. That's perfect. We can get that coordinated with, what's her name? Lindsay.
Lindsay.
Okay.
No, David, she says.
No,
No, David.
David.
Come on.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. And then, let's go back to this. What we would like to do is,
Oh, thanks, Lauren.
oh, thank you.
We'll make a note. Or where are you making your notes, Kara? Just on a piece of
On like
scrap
random pieces of,
Girlfriend.
you know, not even the same sticky note, just random sticky notes. That's how I
excellent.
roll.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
I'll make a few more notes here. in
thanks,
the
that'd be
front.
lovely. What about Chrissy? Are you out? Yeah, do you have any? I don't know if I told you guys, you're not allowed to take any vacations once this
Okay.
whole thing starts.
Well,
Kidding.
mine's around the same time. The only vacation I have is last weekend in June.
Okay.
So just a long weekend.
Okay, and well, we should, okay, so anyway, what about you, Carrie?
Well, she was saying that she's doing summer school the next 3 weeks.
Mhm,
So
yeah.
anytime during the 3 weeks is good. So
All
yeah,
of
but-
probably gonna be
June,
good on the ESC end too, because they're gonna be in their buildings and probably
yeah,
around the end of June, 1st of July, they're gonna finally have their break.
yes. So June is ideal. And then we don't have a vacation plan, and if we do, it will be in mid-July.
Okay,
Get her done in June.
great. That's gives us some great dates to figure that out. All right, now. We also want to schedule though with everybody a time so we want to make sure that because we are going to be in different locations, we are going to heavily practice more than we ever have before procedures, okay, with the trainees. Part of that is going to include the vision is that they have these, basically these sheets of paper that are like what I'm calling competency checks, that a trainer has watched them and checked them off as to be able to say, oh yes, you know how to do the blending portion of the phonemic awareness part of the lesson. You know how to do, for every single part, you know how to do the keyword and sound card drill. So we're creating
EG
these
mapping,
EG
oral
mapping,
reading,
exactly.
spelling
So-
scripts.
So as we teach, so week 1 is a lot about, it's so hard because it's a lot of content you got to throw at them, but also obviously a lot of procedures. And so if we've learned nothing, it's that people need more practice with procedures. So what we want to make sure, what we would like to do with you all is set up a time where we want you to be very clear about what we're expecting with these procedures. Now, we have multiple resources available for that. One of them being a huge document that's a lesson planning guide, right? Like, all right, the phonemic awareness part of the lesson. What is the purpose of this part of the lesson? Why would I even do this? Oh, okay, great. How do I do this? Okay, great. And how do I error correct? Oh, great. It's all written right there. And that's the case for every single part of the lesson. So there's that document, but then there's also, as you know, very clear scripts, a whole separate page that's like, what's the script? What do I say as a teacher? What do I expect the student to say? And also sometimes in there, again, what do I do if they don't say that? So, you know, there's this whole art of correcting errors, knowing how to do that, right? And so we're going to simulate that as much as possible during week 1, while also giving them enough content to get started with their kids before we see them because we don't see them again until October. So they'll be starting, which is another reason why the concept manual is so crucial, because we can't possibly teach them how to teach every single concept. What we have to get them to start understanding is, how would I teach any concept? What does it mean to do a guided discovery? How do I respond to a student's error? That's kind of like the major thing, is how do I respond to a student's error? So we would like to
So-
set up a time to meet with you all to go over those.
And I just wanted to say, because Chrissy and David and Lauren, you and I all started the intro class together. It has evolved so much in 2 years. There are so many more lesson plans laid out. The scripts are much more thorough. It's really organized. Kara is just building it, making it better and better for people to be more successful in their implementation. So some changes have occurred even just in the the year since you were a part of it. And so I think you'll be really quite happy with what you see, and for supporting your folks during the 4 days that we see them in person. But yeah, we absolutely want to practice with you guys prior. So sometime in June or sometime in July, probably June though, to
Yeah.
make sure you guys are comfortable, because you need to be the experts, of course.
I'm
Especially
wondering,
those of you that are at the satellite sites, David and Lauren and
Absolutely.
Carrie,
so I'm wondering if the week of the 17th,
maybe. I know, because the 10th is already next
yeah,
week.
I don't think I'm going to be prepared to get them the stuff, honestly, before the week of the
Yeah.
17th. So do you all want to set something up right now?
Yeah, grab your calendars,
Do
folks.
you have the ability to plan out that far ahead, or do you want me to email as that gets closer? I know you've got, like, Chrissy, with your husband's work schedule, things like that. What would be
Any
better?
information you can give us now, and then we can even send out like a little Google form for you to choose specific days or times.
Yeah,
Are
the
you-
week of the 17th works out. The only day
Okay.
I cannot do is the 17th. My kids are at a camp all week at Kelly's Island, so I'm free.
4-H camp? I went to Kelly's Island 4-H camp.
Yep.
Aw.
Yep.
So no 17th for Chrissy. All right. What about you, Carrie?
Oh, no, well, that day, but that week's good.
No, I mean that, right.
Oh, I'm
No
sorry.
Carrie, no Chrissy on the 17th.
I
Ah,
can do
all
any
right.
day. Yeah, and I can do any day.
Okay.
The 17th, I'm doing a book study with the district after summer school, so any day probably besides the 17th.
So is this like every day of that week, or
No.
what's the hour durations, or what are you
2
thinking?
hours. I'm
2
thinking
hours
about
on
2
a day?
hours on a day.
I can make any day except the 18th. We have some new hire orientation on the 18th.
Okay, 18th. Here I am
Well,
gonna
then
say it
maybe would the
again. No
19th
David.
work for guys?
How about the
19th.
19th?
That
That
works
works
for
for
me.
me.
Okay, what time?
Amazing.
I think that's is that a
Whatever.
Saturday or no?
That's a
Oh,
Wednesday.
I don't think so. I
Oh,
think
you're
it's,
right. It's the Wednesday.
That's
You're right.
Wednesday. Uh-huh.
Sorry.
oh,
No
no, you're good.
worries.
What time?
Kara, is 2 hours really, is that really? Do you think that's feasible? Should we aim for 3 hours and hope it's finished in 2
Are
hours?
we all
though?
on at the same time? Or are you doing this individually?
All at the same time.
And we'll go
Okay.
into breakouts if we need to
Okay.
practice.
I'm flexible, so I can work with whatever other people need.
Well, if it's
That
it's
gives you a
probably
buffer.
easier to have one session that's 3 hours and be done with it than try to not than to set another try to find another time that's right
Mhm.
to try to meet. So if we said
That-
3 hours,
Is that Juneteenth?
It is Juneteenth.
Okay, then I do not have to teach that day. So I could
No
do morning.
kidding.
I was gonna say I have to do in the afternoon, but that on that day I could do the
Oh.
morning. If that helps everybody, I don't know.
Morning's
better.
probably great, just because it's morning. Although here I am in the
Yeah,
mountain time
I was
zone,
gonna
never
say,
mind.
Jen, you're
It's
gonna be up at, like,
afternoon, so it's
5 in the
11
morning.
o'clock for me.
Yeah, might not be so great for you.
I'm getting used to it.
let me make sure my husband's off work on June. Hang on a minute.
Okay. Well, that is wonderful. The 19th works for everybody. That is a little miracle right there.
All right. June 19th. Do we want to say what time do you want to get up, Jen?
Well, you know what? The cat has been waking me up at 5:30. So,
9 to noon.
9 to
9 to
noon.
noon for Eastern folks or for Mountain folks?
9 to
don't know.
noon for Eastern folks. Sorry, Jen, that's
No, that's fine.
7
It's
your time.
fantastic. All righty.
Yep, that works. Okay. Great.
Lovely. Very good, very good.
I will be between now and then sharing with you. So what we are going to do, we are literally going to practice doing like the keyword and sound card drill. So in the, moving of the, what do you call those things? Sound circles for that. So I will send you the most updated, the scripts and the lesson plan guide I talked to you about. I will send those to you before this date, because that's what we will go off of. And I think I'll have the concept, I'm sorry, the competency checks that the people are literally going to walk around with these pieces of paper that you will check off that you have seen them do this correctly. So that's what we'll go over. Other than that, you have no expectations of what you have to do. So you will be, going to the next slide, in charge of you will not be lecturing at all during the week that we meet, the first week of the first 4 days, but you will be conducting these competency checks, right? Where somebody comes to you and says, I'm ready to show you that I know how to do the PG mapping script. Great. So, I mean, obviously it'll be more structured than that, but, again, kind of what Jen already said, every year there are changes to this course. Every single year there is something that's different. There's a different, I tweak the concept cards, or I tweak a procedure. For example, if you just went through training, we're no longer going to be asking in the spelling script, we're not even asking about function words anymore. We're not going to say, is it a content word or a function word? Because we're just teaching that a whole different way. Function words are basically just all going to be thought of as, wonder words almost, not really, but anyway, you'll hear about how we're going to do that. But anyway, so don't assume that the way you were trained is exactly how these people are going to get trained. Especially with procedures and scripts.
But I would say it's what, 92%, 85 to 92% the same
Absolutely.
as it was 2 years ago. So just a few
Absolutely.
tweaks that I think are improvements.
Okay. Oh, let me see. Oh yeah. So we already said plan to get there at 8:30, 1 hour for lunch. We go to 4 o'clock. Okay. Now, oh, before I go any further, to reduce, we have 3 training locations: Salina, Marysville, Worthington. Jen is our master materials orderer, and
Oh,
she's
yeah.
about to get
Oh,
ready to
gosh.
do that. We've got the main
And
ones
the
being
accountant,
the
right?
accountant,
Sure.
yes.
Yeah.
And you should see her, these women's spreadsheets. They are a thing to behold.
That's so pretty.
Not in a great way. I mean, they're colorful, but no, you can't
They're
understand what they
colorful.
are. Anyway, we would love if to ship to just 2 places instead of 3. For a variety of reasons. Could we ship the Marysville and Worthington materials to one of you? And then you can coordinate, it'd be Carrie and David or Carrie and Lauren, getting the numbers that are needed to the other person.
I mean, I'm sure that's fine. You know,
Yeah.
I live in Dublin. I don't know if you guys live in Marysville.
Oh,
Not
even
that far
better.
from- Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
live that far away from you guys.
Okay, so you all could meet at on 33 somewhere,
Yeah.
the rest stop, have a little meet and greet. So literally
Great.
just sometime before the 29th, just to say, here's your, you've got 5 trainees, you've got 4, whatever. All right. And it just would be really nice if we could do that. So Carrie, are you volunteering for us to send this stuff to your house?
No, sure. That doesn't matter. Yeah.
Great.
You.
Thank
fine.
you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really helpful, especially because those alphabet materials, that's just really helpful to only have one place. So I appreciate that.
Okay.
Everybody, we are now purchasing the textbook for everybody in the intro year. The multisensory teaching of basic language skills.
Mhm.
We're eliminating a lot of the articles, almost all the articles, and we're gonna use the text heavily in intro, and then I'm picking up the advanced stuff for the advanced people. We're not doing the workbook anymore for the intro year, but we're also doing overcoming dyslexia. So you'll get those books plus alphabet related materials. And then Kara and I will bring all of the things that Kara has built. We will print all those and oh no, you're gonna send those too,
No,
aren't
those
you,
are
Kara?
also going to get sent eventually. So Carrie,
Yeah, right.
can you type your email or your actual physical address in
Yeah.
the thing for us? Because I'll send some stuff to King. I'll get a ton of stuff printed, and that also will get there. So we will let you know. I mean, I think Jen's going to do the ordering relatively soon, and we will let you know when everything is there to get distributed, so you don't have to make 2 meetups.
Thank you. We really appreciate
Super,
that.
super appreciate it. I mean, the alternative is that all of you come to Salina, which I know just
Well, I
sounds,
hear it's wonderful in
it's
July.
just lovely. Okay,
Good.
we got 8 minutes. Okay, so looking good. Now, so looking
Thank you,
ahead
Kara.
in terms of also timeline and things like that. We want to make sure that we have timely feedback for folks, even though they don't always get us their observation in a timely manner. We want to make sure we get that feedback from the observations in a timely manner. When they record their lesson, they have a week to, as in 7 days, to watch it themselves, do their reflection, and get all the stuff back to us so that we can give them the feedback. So there's reflection and then there's feedback. Okay. Our feedback turnaround goal is about 3 business days and no more than 7. So for them to get the feedback from us. So there you go. There's a little grid for you there that says, so if they turn it in on Monday, we try to send the feedback on Thursday. If they don't turn it in until Tuesday, Friday, blah, 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 blah. Okay. These are approximate goals. 3 is the goal. 7 is the max. Just FYI in general. Now, one of the a lot of the things that you do for ICALP, well, some of the things anyway, are not super time sensitive. And really the great thing about being a trainer and instructor and doing a lot of this online is that if you had to watch a video at, 8 o'clock at night, you can, right? You don't have to be there live with the person when they do the observation. So there's a lot of flexibility involved. But at the same time, there's not flexibility in the sense of the turnaround time. And when it comes to these 5 guided observations, how the 5 guided observations work is that you will watch them simultaneously with Jen or I, and we will talk through and lead you through how to give feedback, right? Basically. So your requirement is 5 guided. However, we would like for you to see one of their observations 1, right? So everybody's gonna turn in an observation 1. We want you to see somebody's observation 1. Then you could maybe do an independent observation number 1. Because it's going to definitely be with the foundational lesson plan. And we have already guided you through 1. So you won't do any independent until you do a guided. Then eventually they're going to start turning in observation number 2s, right? You're going to do a guided observation. So what I'm trying to say is, it's not like you do guided, and then independent, right? We back to this. That's what this is trying to reflect right here, right? This hour's overview.
Yeah, because they're working their way through the concepts manual. So obviously we start with the simpler, we work our way through the more difficult. So you need our guidance on those various levels, and then you can do the independent.
Okay, so I remember drop everything and read. Is that still a thing in school? So I'm calling this drop everything and observe. So just looking ahead, what needs to happen with these is that we kind of need to be ready. We don't know when someone is going to turn in observation number 1, right? Or 2 or 3 or whatever. We don't know when that's going to happen. We have some idea, but I can't give you that date right now and say, and say, block off this time for observation number 1 guided. So we kind of need to be ready to, and I want you to think about what this would look like for you. We're trying to, instead of doing, because there's 4 of you and 2 of us, instead of doing a one-on-one guided observation with Chrissy, and then a one-on-one guided observation with Carrie, and then a one-on-one guided observation with David, and then a one-on-one guided observation with Lauren, what we're trying to have happen is that, a couple of you, hopefully, we could go, okay, guys, guess what? We got observation number 1 in from John. Who can watch it with Kara on Thursday night from whatever, 5 to 8 or Saturday morning from whatever to whatever. We'd like to kind of try to do it like that so that because these are not quick. We stop the video, we talk, we explain why we gave the points that we did, we talk about what feedback, blah, 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 right? So that's our vision. This past year, we only had 2 ICALP interns, so we kind of split it, and we did kind of one-on-ones because it wasn't so bad, but this is a lot of time. And remember, Jen and I are dropping everything to do this right along with you.
I can't tell you how many Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights, and Saturday mornings, and Sunday morning before church. Anyway.
Right. Okay.
It's a blessing, but it's a curse. It's like, oh, great.
Absolutely. And it's only 5 times throughout the school year. Okay. So it's not like 5 times in the fall. It's like, so what we're hoping is that we'll be able to say, hey, you know what? One of Jen's trainees got her second one done, who can meet this time in this place to do this? And it's best to just sit down and to get it all done in that one sitting.
And realize I'm going to say always, there will always be a Friday night through a Sunday night where you will have the option to hop on, and we will absolutely consider. I mean, I don't know, David, your kids always play soccer on Saturday mornings. We'll try to make it a Saturday night. Of course we're going to be flexible, and just realize though, I know like with Ashley, especially last year, she was like, well, Kara's gonna talk about this, but she would usually wrap hers up, either start it throughout the week, but then finish it on the weekend, because that was just when she was finally able to give more than 30 minutes here or 60 minutes there.
So that's for those guided. So just be ready for that email from Jen or I that says, all right, guys, ready for this guided number 1. I'm thinking I might do it Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. You know, if you haven't done your guided number 1 yet, here's a chance. Okay. But again, as always, of course, though, we are flexible. So there's no guarantee, by the way, that it's going to be one of your trainees, right? But that's okay. Doesn't have to be. So then the good news is for those independents, which Jen just talked about a little bit, when it's an independent evaluation, that means you're taking the lead, independent of Jen and I, and you're going to do the observation on your own, do the feedback, right? And it is a great idea. And Jen and I do this too, to steal, you know, that part 1 of the video, you've got the video, you know that the PA part is only supposed to take 2 minutes. Well, on your lunch break, if you want to try to do PA and the keyword and sound drill and just get that part of it done, you absolutely can do that. There's nothing saying you have to sit and watch the independent of observations all in one sitting. But it will take you a long time. You know, the lesson's only 50 minutes. It's going to take you longer than 50 minutes to do the feedback.
Amen, sister. Really, you guys, it's like, no kidding, 3 to 4 hours on some of these
Yeah.
initial ones.
Yeah.
And on the guided ones, period.
Which we're trying to do better. Again, like shoring up some of these procedures is going to hopefully help with that, because a lot of the feedback we give is like, why are you doing the PA like that? Like, what are you doing? Right. So we're trying to shore that up a little bit in week 1 to help with that. But
Like
regardless,
letting them practice.
yes, regardless,
Mhm.
you're new at giving feedback. So you need to learn, right? It's just as much about you learning how to give the feedback as it is, you know, their performance. So, and again, we'll give you more, you know, we'll talk about how to do all of that. Generally not generally, what we are going to do is when you do an independent one, everything that they turn in is on a Google Doc. There is nothing turned in on Word. All of their feedbacks, because, you know, they start the process by doing a reflection. Really, that's what starts an observation cycle, is a recording and a reflection. They have to submit their reflection as a Google Doc, because that allows us to make a copy. Well, allows you to make a copy of that doc independent of that person, so that then when you do all your comments and stuff, you can go, oh, Kara, I wasn't really sure if this, you know, was accurate, or hey, Jen, take a look at what I said here. Is this right? For those independent ones, is a great communication tool to that commenting feature. So if you're not, you know, if you don't know how to do the commenting feature on Google Doc, get familiar with it, because that's a great way for us to communicate with each other on those independents. But, you know, we'll talk more about that when we get there too. Okay.
Yay.
6:32, not bad.
Not bad. Not
5:32
bad.
or 7:32 or wherever you are. All right, so that's that for now. What questions do you have that we have not answered?
How many trainees do you have this round?
Oh, well, that's a great question. About 35?
6? We've had 40 the last 2 years, and Kara's finishing her PhD. We were like, no more 60 and 70-hour weeks. Anyway, right now I think we're at 35. I know another person just asked if she could sign up, but then we lost one from Marysville. They dropped from 6 to 5.
Yeah,
5 to
Marysville has 5. Worthington has 5.
We're at about 35-ish. And you guys will, yeah, you will be a direct supervisor. Like Chrissy and I will be a direct supervisor to what, 5, right, Kara?
4.
To 4 trainees. And then Carrie and Kara, direct supervisor to 4 to that. And then Kara and I obviously are direct supervisors without some of our interns to some of them also. But that way you really do get a full experience of, you know, there's a lot of correspondence, a lot of questions that come in, you know, things that take time. But that's the nature of the beast. We're really trying to make sure that in-person time can be just give them as much as possible to be successful as possible when they start their practicum. And hopefully that will help ease some of the questions that get turned in and some of the problems that occur with the observations. The first observation, what do we decide, Kara, is about 5 hours. Last year was 5 hours after all the universal lessons. So those first observations come in, what, around hour 10 or 11 or 12 or so?
It depends on how long it takes them to do the diagnostic. So they do the diagnostic
That's
assessment,
true.
they do the universal lessons, and then they do they only do 1 or 2 lessons with that introductory, lesson plan, foundational
Foundational.
lesson
Mhm.
plan. And yeah, so so it's about between 7 to 10 hours
Yeah,
of
those
time
initial
that they,
observations, we want those first 3 observations in really close to the end of the semester. Because that's when so many of the errors occur. And if we can catch it and not have it become habitual, the better. Yeah. Yep. So
did I
please don't plan a
answer,
trip
did I
like
answer
in
the
October.
questions that came in? I hope I did. Some of you emailed me with your questions, and I think I covered them. We're always, as Carrie talked about before, if there's something you want us to discuss, right? You want to kind of put something on the agenda for the meeting, please do so. We will always have topics that we're gonna, want to cover, but of course, anytime you guys email us. I'm using HES lessons at gmail.com. That is my email address for all things related to this stuff. So heslessons@gmail.com is mine. That's just where all this stuff is housed and everything. Not that if you emailed me at Horton, I wouldn't get it, but I'm trying to keep my lives separate, trying to keep Horton. And then Jen is info@Crossroads Literacy, right?
Kara, can I ask a quick question about one of the requirements? It's to read those articles.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
something we could get early if we have time. I mean, this is a long list of things to do this summer for us, but
I have
randomly I will end up
yeah.
like I
Yeah,
could read the article and
I will give you all,
Okay.
I have access to tons of articles. So thanks for asking that. I have access
So
to
good.
tons of articles, given my status as a student. So and they have to be within the past 5 years, and that'll be laid out too when you look through the requirements that Alta gave in those folders. But I made a folder of articles that I thought were good articles for maybe that you want to read. If you ever come across an article that you're reading something and you come across an article that, don't pay $75 to get access to the dang article. I can get it for you. So if there's something that you really want to read, give me the title of the article and the authors, and I will make it available to you. In fact, I'll put it in this folder that I think is called ICALP articles.
I
So
know,
that's
I've been
write
asking.
anything
It's
for it?
lovely.
Is there
So
like a
great.
synopsis or like
no,
a
all you have to do is write a bibliography. All you have to
okay.
do is read the article, but then what you submit to Alta is a bibliography of so a 5 APA, I would use APA. I don't know if they say what to use or
Yeah.
not, but
Okay.
yes,
APA style bibliography. Okay.
that's right. And it just has to be within the past 5 years.
Okay. So are they like are they pre-approved kind of like how Alta has like for it can be anything like that's related to structural literacy basically.
Well, they're not real,
Okay.
they don't give great guidance about that. I
No,
mean,
they don't.
seems to
Anything
me
Kara
that
would get,
it
anything you would get
probably
from Kara. I'm sorry.
something about beekeeping probably shouldn't be
Right,
included,
I
but
get that.
I don't know. If you want to learn about bees, they don't say that you can't.
Right.
So,
Gotcha.
anyway, yeah, I'm gonna actually, I'm gonna give you guys this link right here. This is the
Thank you.
folder where I have been keeping. I just put PDFs in there. I just throw them in there. I even put a little thing from Purdue OWL about how to make a reference list. Like what does a APA 7 article link look like? Or article or whatever you call it, reference. Not a bad idea to get yourself familiar with APA documentation, because anytime you build a presentation, you should have a reference page that includes the references you used, and on the slide itself, if you have a quote or if you have any kind of information that came from somewhere, you should have the reference on there. So it's good practice for that. But yes, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 articles in there.
I have a question just about the credit hours.
Mhm.
I can apply for tuition reimbursement. but I have to do it before the course starts.
Okay,
So the only thing would be, and obviously I haven't registered, so I haven't started, but I don't know if they're gonna give me grief about that June 1st date or not. I don't know if, like on your end, if it can say
And hey,
a
oh,
later
I'm sorry,
date.
Chrissy. Anybody needs to go ahead.
yes.
We're 8 minutes past time now. But stay on if you like. Sorry,
I'm gonna
Chrissy.
jump off, but thank you.
Yeah, great. Good to see you,
Awesome.
Carrie.
Thanks, Carrie.
All right.
Excited
Um,
you're joining us.
You know, boy, that's a great question, Chrissy. We're more than willing to, adjust whatever I mean, technically, you're not required to start anything until July 29th. Like, you're not required to be anywhere
Right.
until July 29th. Now, we have to put start and end dates on things just from Ashland, basically.
Right.
But
Okay, I'll ask. We have a science reading training tomorrow that the state is requiring, so I'm gonna be there to help facilitate. So
Okay.
I'll ask tomorrow and see what they say about it. Hopefully it won't be a big deal since I haven't registered. It's just kind of your broad dates, so they
those
might
are
be
just the
okay with
broad
that.
dates, right? So if you ask for the reimbursement, but right, you could register the day before the end
Right.
date. I mean, so yeah,
Okay,
let us know what they say.
okay. I think that was it.
Good.
Okie dokie.
Good to
Good to
see you
see you, Christy.
guys.
You too.
You too.
Excited. Have you on board.
Thanks, excited.
Miss Lauren.
Yeah,
Oh, so sorry about that. We just have
not
been like
a
a mess here.
problem. Sounds
You know,
like
it's
it.
like Rose needs her eye drops because she had pink eye, and then like Owen had terrible allergies and he had like a double ear infection, and it's just like,
Oh my gosh. Did you say little Rose has pink eye?
yeah. And they said
Aw.
they weren't sure if it was pink eye or just like clogged tear ducts, but
Oh.
I guess it's, I don't know. We've just been a mess. So next year when we add number 4 to the mix.
Girl.
But I'm due October 14th and I'm planning to come back to work like January, like right after Christmas. And I guess I just wanted to check with you guys, like if I got a certain amount of observations in before October and then finished up after, like would something like that work or?
I don't, Lauren, I
Let's
don't
see.
know. I don't know how it would be really hard, even for a person that didn't have as much going on as you have, for them to miss 2-3 months worth. It would be very difficult because, for